recreating open shots. How much can you tell when a game starts or in the course of a game that your offense is more fluid on a particular night, and how long does that last?
Well, first of all, I started off with our defense. Our defense get our offense going, and that's how we maintain games like that. We don't rely on our offense a lot. We rely on our defense to get our when our defense is going, our offense is going. So we limited the Vegas to one shot, and that's how we got open shots for the shooters inside the paint and everything.
I know your coach was talking right after you guys got back from the break about not letting runs get out of control, keeping things, manageable. How much is defense a part of that, specifically to what you guys have done with this season?
Defense is very important. To be able to stop runs like that, we got to play defense, and I feel like we did a good job tonight on stopping Vegas runs, and we didn't get right or up or anything like that. We were like, okay, they got their run, now it's our turn to get our run, and that's what we did.
For either of you, before the game, Coach said that it's kind of like been up and down a lot, thinking, is Caitlin going to play, is she not going to play? And now it's just a feeling of go ahead and charge forward. How does that affect your thinking at this point? And how smoothly do you think you guys adapted to that approach?
Yeah, I don't think that it affects us anymore. We put out a statement today that she's day to day, and so we know that as a team, and so that's helpful to mentally prepare. But I really do think that if we have Caitlin, great, and we know how to play with her. If we don't have Caitlin, great, we know how to play without her, and I think that's just so important. It gives people confidence that when she is back, they know their role, and then when she's not, they have the confidence to come out there and make big plays for us. And so for us, I don't really think it's something that we think about anymore. For us, it's taking one day at a time, stacking the days, and tonight I think we did a really good job, not only physically, but seriously mentally, because we have been struggling and inconsistent when they go on runs, and we stopped it, and then we went on our runs. And so that's a big step for us, and I just said it, but it's all about consistency from here on out.
Natasha, what was working, did you feel like, for you in particular, but also in that second half, it seemed like the ball you guys weren't turning it over nearly as much, you guys were settling in. What contributed to that in your mind?
First of all, you're taking care of the ball. We only have, 3 turnovers in the second half. So for me, I just took advantage on the defense and who was guarding me and stuff. I just went out there and just played my game, and also just contributing to my teammates, and my teammates contributing back to me as well. But it was just like I said before, it was just on defense. Me, it was just my defense, and then it helped me off on the offensive end.
Steph, where'd the jacket come from?
I think it came from Nike. Shout out to Nike, thank you. It was nice.
Your players were just talking about how they felt like the offensive fluidity that they found today came from the defensive end and the stops they got on the end of the floor. And I know you've talked about slowing down runs. How much do you feel like those two things came in tandem today and led you to this win?
Yeah, they did in the second half. I didn't feel like we did that in the first half to end quarters in particular. But our defense can't be dictated by our offense. It has to be the other way around. We had some lapses into first quarter. We had some lapses into the second. And we can't have those. We've got to maintain elite execution on both ends. I thought the second half the ball moved better. Look, there's no defense for turnovers that lead to scores, and I think they had 13 points off of turnovers in the first half. We did a much better job of taking care of the ball, and that's our first line of defense, and we did a much better job of that in the second.
Kelsey tonight, not the most efficient night, but still an impactful night, and that, especially in that fourth quarter. Is there any kind of message you need to say to her? Anything that we still need you to keep shooting and keep going, or anything like that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just telling her, let it fly. It's gonna go. And then helping her recalibrate when she's attacking the rim and just staying on balance. I thought there are times where she's taking a lot of contact. And she gets off balance and she goes off of one leg instead of off two, and just really reiterate to her, particularly in those moments, go off of 2 feet, stay balanced, go strong to the rim. That's when she makes her best reads and her best decisions, and then to keep shooting it from outside. She made some big ones when we needed them.
Steph, what stood out to you about the point of attack defense for you guys individually? It seemed like everyone kind of the best they could owned their matchup and made things, like you were saying, very difficult, especially there late in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they're a tough team to defend. I mean, Jackie Young is one of the best one-on-one players. Obviously, Asia and what she brings to the table, Jewel as well, and Dana Evans is fast and gets downhill. And we really challenge their pride, their individual defensive pride. You got to guard your yard. You got to guard your matchup. We got to guard 2-with-2 in the pick and roll. We've got to do a better job of locking into that consistently. And I felt like individually, for the most part, we held true to that. There were still some breakdowns for various reasons, but I thought we did a much better job and we got better tonight.
Yeah, I know you've talked a lot about consistency, stacking days. Just what do you guys need to do these next couple days leading into Chicago to keep that consistency?
I mean, we have to just understand the urgency and attention to detail that it takes. We don't have the luxury of having breakdowns, of having lapses. We have to understand the sense of urgency that it takes with each possession. One possession can change a ballgame, and we got to understand and value that. And also, we played some heavy minutes tonight, and the challenge is if you're tired, you got to ask for a sub, right? If you're tired, you got to ask for the sub, and then our bench has to be ready. I felt like our bench in the second half was really good defensively. In the first half, I didn't feel that way. You got to be ready to come in, and you got to be ready to guard your matchup and execute the game plan. We have depth for a reason. We've got quality depth, and we've got to be able to use it. So if fatigue is a factor in execution, then they just need to ask for a sub, and I'll get them out and get them back in.
We've talked about it already a couple times this season already, but what's it say about the confidence she has, confidence that you guys have in her to knock down that big shot at the end of the game?
Yeah, I mean, Ari's been big for us. She really has, and I really challenged her in that second half, in that fourth quarter, to be the floor general that we needed, to set the tone, not just offensively but defensively. We were in incorrect pick and roll coverage one possession, and that's a point guard's responsibility when they're on the floor to make sure that we're in that. And she takes ownership of that. And I felt like in that moment, and she struggled shooting the ball in the last game against New York, and she was in there after practice getting extra shots yesterday. So she's putting in the work. She understands momentum. She understands timing. She understands the flow of the game, and that was just a big shot. And she shot it with confidence. There was no hesitation, and that's what I want to see.
When it comes to the momentum swings and getting too high, too low, and allowing things to snowball, I guess, just as a coach, is there anything you can do to try and stifle that or control that, or is that something that it's largely up to the players to kind of sort through and figure out themselves?
Yeah, I mean, we can't control that. We can't control anything like that. I mean, the biggest thing is just reiterate to them to stay neutral. Reiterate that this is a game of runs. We've got to shorten theirs and we've got to extend ours. To encourage when we need encouragement and to get in them when we need to get in them. And that's just learning to have a feel for those moments. And I felt like we did a better job tonight of when we needed to get stopped. I didn't feel like that at that stretch into first into the early second quarter. Didn't feel like that, but we regrouped, and I felt like we did a much better job in the second half, and we grew. We got better.